Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Suzanne Peterson. We warmly welcome the family of Private Edwin Raymond Bishop, whose story will be told shortly by Chaplain Andrew Waters from the Royal Australian Navy, who is a member of Private Bishop's family. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by family and visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him in Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where family and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they'd done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Edwin Raymond Bishop. Edwin Bishop was born on the 14th of November 1897 in the Brisbane suburb of Kangaroo Point, one of 6 children born to bootmaker Edwin Bishop Sr. and his wife Ada Eliza. Young Edwin grew up around the suburbs of Sydney and received his education at Crown Street Superior Public School, where he was an active member of the Cadets program. He went on to undertake a bootmaking apprenticeship in the seaside suburb of Manly and was working as a machine operator in a boot-making factory when the First World War broke out in 1914. Edwin Bishop enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 9th of August 1915. He was assigned to reinforcements of the 18th Battalion and commenced a short period of training in Australia. He embarked for active service on the 20th of December, sailing from Sydney on the troop ship Swavic. After several weeks at sea, Private Bishop arrived in Egypt and was transferred to the 3rd Battalion. He spent a further period of training alongside his new comrades before embarking for France on the 22nd of March 1916. After a 6-day voyage, Bishop and his comrades arrived in the city of Marseille, from where they travelled north to the Franco-Belgian border. Bishop's unit took up positions around the village of Fleurbet in an area known as the Nursery Sector, where new troops could be introduced to the fighting on the Western Front. Over the months that followed, the 3rd Battalion was involved in training and routine duty in the trenches. In July 1916, the Battle of the Somme began, and Bishop's unit was transferred south to the village of La Boiselle. They remained there for a few days before taking up positions around the ruined village of Pozières, where the battalion was tasked with taking a number of enemy trenches. The men began their advance on the 23rd of July 1916 and immediately came under heavy fire and shelling from enemy lines. Despite this, they managed to push their own lines forward to a position from which to undertake patrols in the village. They captured a number of enemy guns and prisoners on the first day of the attack, but were subjected to a further bombardment from German lines. Private Herbert Harris, who was also caught in the fighting at Pozières, described the battle. Imagine men dug in a few feet into the ground and shells falling just like rain. Trenches blown up and men digging for dear life to rebuild them, or rescuing their comrades who were buried, and in most cases, the rescuers were also buried by shells. When entering the trenches, we were bombarded with tear and gas shells, which made us wear our gas helmets. It is almost impossible to see and hard to breathe. I have heard officers and men say that the landing and the Lone Pine battle at Gallipoli were a picnic compared to this last fight. The 3rd Battalion remained in the front lines until the 27th of July, when it was withdrawn for a period of rest. The fighting around Pozières had been costly for the battalion, which sustained almost 500 casualties in only a matter of days. Private Edwin Bishop had been wounded by shellfire during the battalion's stint at Pozières. He was evacuated to the nearby 44th Casualty Clearing Station for treatment, but little could be done for him. He remained in a critical state before succumbing to his wounds on the 28th of July 1916. Today, his remains lie buried in Puchevillers, British Cemetery in France, beneath the words chosen by his parents. An honourable death is better than a dishonourable life. Edwin Bishop was 18 years old. His name is listed on the roll of honour to my right, among almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Edwin Raymond Bishop, who gave his life for us, for our freedom, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today and for your continued support during the Memorial's development project. We wish you all a very pleasant evening. Thank you.